Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to describe a project which I had made in my first year of engineering. The project is a website whose name is FarmEasy. As the name suggests, it is something related to agriculture. The main elements of this website are as follows. We have a logo, we have the menu bar, we have the time and the date, we have a search bar, the news bulletin, and the useful links section. In addition, we have the photo slider where we can navigate between the photos using the side buttons and also the scrollable buttons at the bottom. We have the farmer registration form where the farmer can enter his details and get his crops entered into the database so that they can be displayed to potential customers. So now let us see the farmer registration form in action. Let us enter some details. Let us put some other name and let us put some name and let us put mail and something for the city, something for the district and the state. Let me click on the email, which will be something like this, and a 10-digit phone number. Now let me click on the crop type which the farmer wants to register, fruits, vegetables, pulses, or grains. So let me click on vegetables. So let me select tomato and brinjal as the vegetables. Let me confirm my choices which I have made by clicking on yes. And when I select this, I'm presented with the submit button. And when I click on submit, you can see that the details which we have entered are successfully stored in the database. Let us go back to the home page by clicking on back to home page. Now let us see the other features of the website. Let us go to the video section. As you can see, we have a set of videos being displayed, and all of these videos are present in YouTube. Hence, I've embedded these videos in the web page. So when we click on a video, we can play it. Hence, it's an embedded video player inside the HTML, which we can use to play the YouTube videos. Now let us go back to the home page by clicking on back to home page. To see the products which have been entered by the farmers, we can click on products and we have the details being shown. As you can see, the tomato and brinjal is the details which I have entered just now. Back to home page. And we have the about section which displays the the details of this website. Then we have the contact section where I've presented my contact details here. And then we have an analytics section which leads us to a Colab file. The reason why we have this in Colab is because we can interactively visualize the data which is present in the database. So now let me click on run. So what this code does is that it fetches the details which are present in the database, and then we can perform visualization. So we have obtained the details, and the details have been presented here. As you can see, we have the details which we had entered just a moment ago. Now let us run the next few cells. Now let us run this cell. We have the count of each crop type. Basically, this shows how many farmers have registered what type of crop. For example, this shows that 7 farmers have taken a fruit crop for registration, 8 farmers have taken a vegetable crop for registration, and so on. Now let us look at the gender distribution of the farmers, whether like the number of farmers who are male or female. As you can see here, we have 9 farmers being male and 7 farmers being female. We can be more specific in the gender distribution by applying more kinds of aggregation, or we can be more specific in the aggregation. We are applying a condition to make sure that we are obtaining the gender distribution according to the state. And we have now obtained the gender distribution. So we have 7 farmers coming from Karnataka who are male and 5 farmers coming from Karnataka who are female. And now we can also obtain the distribution of farmers according to the districts of Karnataka. So this is one step further. We are being more specific in our query. As you can see, we have 6 farmers coming from Bangalore, 4 from Bagalkote, and 2 from Shimoga. Like this, we can analyze, we can extract useful insights from the data, and the government can use these kinds of insights to make sure that they can launch schemes for farmers coming from a specific area or farmers coming from a specific state, and we can launch special schemes for female farmers, and etc. etc. So we can have this kind of data analysis to aid decision makers to make valuable decisions. Now let us go back to our home page. Now let us use the search bar, and so before we come to the search bar, let us explore the other sections. So we have the marquee tags being used to have this kind of movement. As you can see, we have the URL being presented. We have been taken to the URL, and the URL is present. It is presenting to us the various kinds of news related to agriculture. So this news is useful for the farmers, and they can make use of the news to perform certain actions which are beneficial for them. And we also have the useful links, which present them with links to various government websites which are useful for farmers. For example, when I clicked on Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, it takes me to the link with details related to the above mentioned welfare scheme. So we have taken the farmer to useful websites so that they can make full use of the schemes which are present for them. And before I talk about the registration form and search bar, so one of the main challenges which I faced during the design of the website was the layout of the website. We have to make sure that the elements are positioned in such a way that they are comfortable for the user. However, the website has still not been extended to all kinds of devices. This website is now primarily designed for my desktop screen, which is as shown in the video. Hence, this kind of layout may not be present for all kinds of websites. So this is one small issue that is present, which I will try to address in the future. The next issue was in the design of the farmer registration form, which has to make sure that the details are entered in a proper manner. For example, the user simply cannot leave the name field empty or the gender field empty or any of the mentioned fields empty. So let us have a demo of this registration form. For example, let me leave both the name fields empty and even the gender field empty. And I will enter some kind of invalid details for the city. And let me keep some valid name for the district and valid name for the state. And let me click on Tamil Nadu for the state. And email, let me give this. So let me give an invalid email too. Let us say just it's like this. And let me give just a 4 digits for the phone number. And let me leave this crop type fields also empty. Now let us see what happens when we click on yes. It says that input cannot be empty. We have left the first name, last name, gender, and the crop type fields empty. So until we fill all those fields, it will pop the message showing input field is empty. Now let me enter some details for this. So let us put 2, Harish 2, which is actually invalid because we can't have numbers in our names. And let me click on this. Let me give female, or this, it doesn't matter that part. Next we have the crop type. Let me click on fruits. And now once again, let me leave this as empty. So it still says input cannot be empty because we have left this as empty. So now once I enter this as the details, now let me click on yes. It says not a valid phone number. It's because we are supposed to have 10 digits as part of a phone number, but we are having just 4. Now let me click on 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So now we have 10 digits, makes it a valid phone number. Let me click on yes. It says invalid email because an email is supposed to have something like this, that is an @ field followed by a kind of .com field or the domain. Now let me click on yes. It says invalid first name because I have a digit in that, which makes it invalid. Let me remove 2. Now let me click on yes. Now we can see that it has made all the fields read-only. The reason why we make it read-only is because when we are sending details to the server, we have to make sure that the user enters valid details only. So before we click on submit button, we have to make sure that the details which are present are valid ones. And not just that, we are going to perform some kind of back-end operations which will parse the data which have been entered by the user. For example, the crop type and the crops which have been checked. Now, when I click on I'm not a robot, in the backend, we are setting inputs. We are setting inputs to the server. So that inputs will be of the form which I'll show here. So when I click on submit, it shows all the details which have been entered by the user and which have been stored in the database. As you can see, the fields which I showed, which are the crop and the corresponding crops, have been presented, which have been passed in the following manner. So we have the crop type and we have the crops. All this has been performed using JavaScript in the backend. I mean, not proper backend, it's like on the client side, which have not been explicitly performed by the client, but is being performed by the browser using JavaScript. So this has been done using the JavaScript. And the reason why we had the confirmation buttons and I'm not a robot buttons was to make sure that all the details entered by the user are validated and also passed. This was one of the main challenges which I faced during the design of the farmer registration form. The next part was the search bar, which had been designed by one of my classmates. The main part was that it had to be compatible with the database which I was using. Because there was some kind of version mismatch, the query which he had given was initially not compatible with the database, and I had to make sure that the queries which the PHP issues to the MySQL database in the backend will be compatible. Now let us see how the search bar works. Let us enter a state and search for the records related to the state. As you can see, we have all the records being displayed for the particular state. Back to home page. So it's not just state, we can also enter a crop and we can search for that. As you can see, we have all the details being displayed for the particular crop. We can also enter names, emails, phone numbers, etc. for searching. This website has made use of CSS, JavaScript, and HTML in the front end. And we are making use of a PHP backend in collaboration with a MySQL database. All this was performed initially in localhost, that is in our local computer. Later, I decided that I should try to deploy this website in a public domain. For this, I have made use of 000webhostapp.com, which allowed me to freely deploy this entire website in a public domain, which I have named it as farmeasy123.000webhostapp.com. So now this entire website has been deployed in this particular website, and for accessing the website, the users can simply use this URL and visit the website. Thank you.